Do you want a little update from my indoor jungle from the month of June? As well as a tiny little unboxing at the end of the video. Stick around with me and let's look into it. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel, Houseplantygoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see some of it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. So today I thought I might try something interesting, which is kind of giving you a month-on-month update of my space actually, because I do 2 videos each week. I'm getting back into the swing of doing them at the moment. And I think a lot of the times you kind of see glimpses of things that are happening around my space. And I thought it might be an interesting one to show you a bit more, talk about some of the new growth, things that I've done, any repottings, any kind of additions, any accessories, anything that's happened during that month. I'm starting this at the beginning of June. I'm calling this a June update. You could arguably call it the May update, but you know what I mean. I'll do it once a month. Hopefully I will keep myself disciplined when it comes to this and give you some updates on how some of the plants are doing in the space, and you can get certain updates as we go along that way. Also, stick around to the very end of the video because I have a very, very special unboxing that I'm going to do of 2 plants that I've been wanting to in my collection for a very, very long time, which are now in my collection, which is great. Okay, so let's start off with some growth updates. So I do have a plant that has literally just grown as its biggest leaf yet, basically, and it's doing really well. Let me show you. Ta-da! The Philodendron luxurians, and it is luxuriancing a lot. You can see some of the oldest leaves that came with perpetual mealybugs, but they're doing quite well. These are very, very, very close to a grow light. But this is in semi-hydro still, and it's always got a water reservoir because reasons. This is a very, very thirsty plant, and also I thought there was a bit more water in the reservoir, and now that I've kind of moved this around a bit, the indicator has kind of dropped a bit. Anybody get that? Sometimes when it's just like there's a little indicator there, which is meant to show stuff, they never work after a while, basically. Oh, I should bleep that, sorry. I try not to curse in my videos. Hopefully that's bleeped. But yeah, they don't ever work. So yeah, it is very, very, very cool, and I'm very excited to have a new leaf coming through. Also, a plant that I thought was dying off in the winter has done a miraculous comeback. This is the Calathea, what I'm calling a White Fusion. I think it was something like a White Miracle or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. And you can see that was like one of the original leaves that have died off, but actually all of these have come in the last couple of weeks, basically. So it's doing really, really well. It is in soil, it is obviously in a cache pot, but it's doing really, really, really well, and I'm glad that it's coming back. I'm okay with this plant because I've wanted this specific Calathea for a very long period of time. Yes, I know, me wanting a Calathea, but I've wanted this specific Calathea for a very, very long time, and I know that it's a troublesome one for a lot of people. So to be fair, if this just goes into a dormancy state over the winter and then just comes back in the summer, I'm okay with that. It can just be like a Calathea / caladium for me, basically. But yes, I'm very, very excited to have this growing as well as it is. To show you something that I found recently, which I didn't do an unboxing for because it was just from my local garden centre, believe it or not, I managed to find an actual adansonii, the kind of sectoral variegated one as well. That's the newest leaf. It's got another one already on its way. I've got it on a moss pole because, and to be fair, I found these moss poles because I discovered Temu. Pray for me. Too many orders already. But yes, so this is one that I got from there, and it just means that I've got less to do, basically, because half of the issue that I have with moss poles is just the sheer dread of having to make one. This takes a bit of that issue out. So I know there's a lot of issues with Temu, I'm aware, but for the same thing, if I was to get it on Amazon, which is probably still coming from companies like Temu to the UK, it's like 3 times the price, and I'm just like, this is still not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's okay, basically. But yeah, this one's growing quite nicely, I will say, and it's not skipped too much of a beat. I've got it underneath a grow light. At the moment, it's not crisping up, so see how it goes. But yeah, remember when these were in the 4 digits? Possibly a bit more. I can't remember now how much it got at the ridiculousness of its height. I think I got this for like 30 quid. I'm just like, you know what? I'm okay to pay £30 for this, basically. And I always said this from day one, I'm not going to spend the ridiculous prices. When they get to slightly more reasonable amounts, yes, I might get it, because I do like the look of a variegated adansonii. It's fine. Also, let me show you a plant that has a lot of sentimental value to me, because it had a lot of sentimental value to the person that gave it to me. So this was, I think, a couple of leaves cutting of Hoya carnosa green, if I'm not mistaken. But a lovely dear friend, planty friend, if you do watch this, hi, it's doing well, it's doing really well. Had visited the area where I lived recently because we've got a common friend here basically, and she bought me this from, I think, granddad's plant that has been in the family for quite a few years, so it had a lot of sentimental value. And she was saying, do you have the green one? I'm just like, no, I don't. I would love to have one. So yes, and I do love plants like this where it's just like, I wasn't actively looking to find the green carnosa. I would have liked to have had it at some point, but now that I know that it comes with such a pedigree, so to speak, or so much history behind it, I am so happy to see it growing and growing happily. And I think she was saying as well, it's like one of the most ironclad plants that they've got and they've had in the family for years. So I love stories like that, basically. So yes, green Hoya carnosa. The other thing that has happened this month is that my Alocasia, which was right behind everything up there, my Alocasia, what am I blocking now? Sinuata, I think it is. So this type of Alocasia, which is very similar to the dragon scale, I think. It's very kind of giving dragon scaly kind of things. This was in semi-hydro, I think, with pon. I have moved this into soil now because it just hasn't done very much. It hadn't died. Some of the others that I put in had actually died. This one wasn't doing too great, so I've moved it into... I am thoroughly enjoying, and I'm going to finish that sentence now, I'm thoroughly enjoying the Anthurium mix from Soil Ninja, and I'm kind of using it as my base level soil mix for everything. Because I find that it's, for me at least, is quite forgiving for the overwateringness, especially in my care with the plants that I've got, basically. So really nice. So, and I've just realized this needs watering. It's too light and it's looking a bit dry, which is annoying, but I will give it a water after this video. This has been a long morning. I think at the moment it's quarter to 12, so kind of midday basically. And I'm still just getting around to filming. Normally I'd like to film quite early on because I have got about 80 or 90 plants that I need to water after I've finished filming now, and then make lunch and then deal with the dog as well and all these things. So it's been a long morning. There's been a lot that has happened, and I didn't know that I had this much to do this morning. So I don't know, neither here nor there. But yes, this one is doing really well. And again, it's following the same kind of trend that I've been talking about on my channel for a while. This has now been moved into a soil mix from semi-hydro. Still got a lot of stuff that will stay in their semi-hydro mixes for now, but this is one that, and as I said, I think most of my Alocasias at this point, I'm just going to move them back into soil. They always seem to do better for me. Part of the reason why I moved them into semi-hydro, barring the fact that a lot of people were saying it did really well for them, and I know I've heard all of you about the way that you've transitioned them. I get it. I also don't always have that much time to baby these plants as much as that. For me, there is no judgment here at all, basically, but I just don't have the time. And it is one of those things that part of the reason as well that I wanted to do it is because I know with my semi-hydro, they tend to slow down the growth of a lot of plants. They're still happy, but they grow a bit slower. With my Alocasias, and this isn't a humble brag, this is just the reality of what happens a lot of the times. When I had them in soil, they grew so well for me, but they grew stupidly large very quickly, and I'm just like, I need you to slow your roll. I do not have time for you to be getting massive, basically. So it kind of worked in that respect that it didn't do very much, but it also was looking a bit pathetic. So I'm just like, it's not working. I need to put it back into soil, basically. So I'm okay with that decision now. The other big thing that you might notice or might not, basically, is that I have moved my heterocraspedon onto a moss pole. And let me see if I can bring it up so I can show you without dropping absolutely everything else down. Actually, let me do the other thing that I've moved here so you can see it. So here is the pinnatilobum affinity, I think it is. Yes, the pinnatilobum affinity philodendron, and it's still doing very, very, very nicely. That is its newest leaf, I think. The problem with this one is I did have some spider mites, so you might see some of these leaves are looking a bit shiny. So I did the kind of neem oil spray, and there's still some spider mites on this, and this one is infested quite heavily in the back bit of it as well. So this leaf is not salvageable. It will be coming off. Right, there we go. Because I'm not dealing with that level of like craziness when it comes to spider mites, basically. But the rest of the leaves should... no. I dealt with the leaves in the front. This is where people tell you need to spray the backs, and all the spider mites have moved to the back. So yes, I will be spraying the leaves in the back as well. But yes, that has now moved there basically at this particular moment in time. And it's doing quite well. It's attached quite nicely to its moss pole. This is one of my moss poles. I've got an air layering situ happening at the top there because I want it to start rooting into that. It has outgrown its moss pole, and I don't have a way to stabilize this in the same pot, so I'll probably will be cutting off the plant there and just repotting it and getting a bushier plant basically. There you go, the pinnatilobum affinity has just been sprayed off camera for spider mites, because if I don't do it now I'm going to forget. But let me bring up the heterocraspedon so you can see I've had to have it leaning against something because the moss pole is way too tall. It does grow a bit lanky, I will say that basically. But you can kind of see maybe what I was trying to achieve there when I was... This is a plant that I had as an air layer, and it did root out really well on the moss. I thought the bottom part of the plant was being supported by its own root system, but based on these lower leaves from the original branch, it really didn't. So eventually what will happen is when this starts rooting into this moss pole, I will then take a cutting and put it back in and just kind of keep it growing. It's not the fastest philodendron, but I still really, really enjoy the heterocraspedon. The other major thing that has happened is that right behind here, and you will see this in the unboxing that's coming at the end of this video, is one of the newest plants that I got from that recent order. The other one is over there, but I won't spoil the surprise from the unboxing at the end. There are newer things that are happening here, which is fantastic, basically. So that's the other big thing that has happened there. The Esmeralda spirit has since moved, and let me see if I can bring it in so you can see the growth that is happening currently on that one. This is a plant that grows very weirdly, and I've had to tie it up so I can get some level of like normality onto it. So that is one of its older leaves. This was its newest leaf, so it's definitely giving both the Esmeraldens, but also some, and I mean, apologies for how bent it is, but it was right up against the top of the glass there behind me, so that's why it's had to move, because it was kind of outgrowing its position. But that's the other leaf, and there's a brand new leaf coming in, which hopefully this one isn't touching the glass, so it should do well. It has rooted spectacularly into a moss pole, but it's kind of done the thing where it's kind of going on the side of the moss pole now, so I don't know if it's going to continue growing the big leaves. If I see that it starts downsizing, I will chop it up and kind of put it back in and get a bushier plant and maybe give it a thicker moss pole just so it's got more space to kind of spread its roots, its aerial roots, and do its thing. But still really enjoying this plant more than I ever thought was possible. And the clear pot was a great idea because I can kind of see the roots and what this is doing basically. Ooh, and there is a really cool growth update on my nigrolaminum Gigi Anthurium. Let me show you. So it came to me with the two leaves, these two leaves here. This was the next leaf that took nearly a year to bring out, but look, look it. it is got a new leaf already, and it's not that much later than the previous leaf. And now I can kind of finally see what people were saying. They're just like, it's always like growing new leaves for me. And I'm just like, it never did that for me. But it does seem to be doing it right now. So I was just looking at that kind of going, has it got pests? I don't think it does, but this might need to be one that's monitored, basically. I need to see what is happening. See, that's what I mean. These videos are great because I can kind of like troubleshoot my plants at the same time, because I am that lazy plant parent that I'm just like, I ain't got no time. Really, really well in semi-hydro, in case you're wondering. Thrives in semi-hydro. And some what news. This is however many leaves are left now from the flavolineatum Anthurium, basically. Now, story time behind this, because this one had a lot more leaves and everybody was thinking, oh, it's doing really well, and it was bouncing back and it's growing roots. And it still is. I have moved it into Soil Ninja's Anthurium mix, and it had roots. So I kind of put it in there. The problem that I have, and the reason why you're seeing a relatively tall cup, is because there's roots down there and then there's roots up here, but there's nothing in between. And I'm just like, and I thought it was getting some yellowing on the leaves, and I originally thought, oh, maybe it's getting some root rot. Maybe I moved it into soil too quickly from the damp sphagnum moss. So I recently took this out from the soil mix and then just checked it and just went, actually, no, the roots are completely fine. There is absolutely zero rot. And then I looked at the yellowing a bit more, and it was getting very, very bright light where it was getting. So I think it was just burning off, basically. So it's unfortunate. It's lost quite a few of its leaves. But the root system is healthy. I don't know. I think this is also maybe one of those plants that tends to grow in the higher altitudes. And it doesn't feel like there's anything absolutely wrong with it. So I don't know. The two leaves that are left now are the two newest leaves that it had when it came in my care. I was hopeful that I was going to get some growth on this coming into spring and summer, but it's not doing very much, basically, and it hasn't ever reactivated growth. So I don't know. The situation with this is, if it deteriorates too much, yes, I will rehab this in a prop box, but at the same time, if and when, it's probably not an if, it's a when at this point, really, let's call a spade a spade. When I do the next Ecuagenera order, I will be reordering this, because I've really, really enjoyed growing it. And hopefully I can get one that's not coming over in the winter, and maybe it will be able to bounce back a bit more, but very, very cool plant. All right, let's do a final little update on what's happened in this month, and then I will hand you over to Past Me for the unboxing, basically. But this is, oh, why do I always forget? Rubrocinctum platinum philodendron, and it's got a new leaf, which is great. I mean, this grows a bit rubbishy. And it is very paper fine, and it's fine. I'm okay with that as well. But the thing I wanted to show you, which you might be able to see right there, this little thing right here, it's gonna bloom. Whether or not I'm gonna let it bloom, I don't know, because there's a new leaf coming in as well. But, and the reality with this plant is any bug that is going in terms of pests in this space will go towards it, spider mites and mealybugs specifically. So I don't know if I'm going to let it bloom, but there is a bloom coming in, and I might let it bloom for one time and then just kind of chop it off and let it do its thing. But actually, it's doing quite well. Would this be happier if I gave it some moss pole? Probably. But for right now, I don't have the time or the patience to do that. So Janky support stick for the win. I lied to your face. I will do one more little quick update, which is the fact that there are new leaves happening on my Monstera obliqua Peru. I have given it a moss pole. It's only just now starting to attach to the moss pole. But let's see if I start getting a bushier Monstera obliqua Peru, basically. But it seems to be enjoying the moss pole, so a bonus. But that's a quick little update of things that are happening in here in June, the major ones. We'll probably do another one in July as well. But for now, let me pass you over to Past Me for the little quick unboxing that I was talking about. Okay, so this should hopefully be an interlude of another video, but this is the unboxing that I was talking about a few videos ago at this point. This is so exciting. Grow Tropicals, and This kind of links to one of the other videos that I was talking about, my top tips to get your wish list plant. This was around in one of their newsletters, and this has a box, as a big box. It's a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be, so you might be able to see new scenery behind me, including the brand new leaf from the Anthurium warocqueanum, or the Queen Anthurium, which is quite sizable this year, which is quite nice. But I've cleared a lot of the plants over back here because the big plant is going to go there, and this might be one that people haven't heard of before. And this, I'm really hoping it's okay, because the people at Grow Tropicals probably sent it fine, but the box is a bit dented, so hopefully it doesn't have any problems. This is a plant that I've been wanting for a while, and a lot of you, I mean a lot of you, are always kind of messaging me going, it's on this website, it's on this website. I wanted to get a slightly bigger version, but actually the price that they had this at the same time as I was buying something else was just like, you know what, I'm going to bite the bullet, let's get it. I'm assuming it's going to be relatively small. It's fine, I will grow it. I'm pretty sure it's a bit slow, but let's see how it goes. So let's start with the small one. And this is an Anthurium, and this is an Anthurium that I've been wanting for a while. It's also a pendant Anthurium. Do you want to guess in the comments down below which one I've finally got my hands on? But yeah, hopefully it's come all right, because that box is looking a bit busted, basically. And I can see it is fine. It is actually... This is where their amazing packaging comes into play quite nicely, because that has not got affected one bit from the delivery. I was right, it's a bit on the small side. I'm okay with that, it's fine. Do I think if I ordered it from somewhere else it might have been a bit bigger? Yes. Do I think I could have got it for a bit cheaper? Yes. But this looks amazing. I will show you in just a second. As per always, they've got the plant duct taped into the actual shipping kind of tube, really, but oh yes. I would assume that most of you would have probably guessed correctly by now. This is the Anthurium wendlingerii. I finally have the wendlingerii. It's not huge, it's fine. I kind of got the impression that I'm not realistically going to find this in a sizable kind of size, really, anytime soon, or for the price that I would want to pay for this in a sizable size. So let's see how I get on with this. But I finally have the little wendlingerii. So let me just try to cut off that hair-raising moment where you just like, I need to not destroy the plant that I've just got by trying to take the packaging off. Oh, very, very, very cool. So I'll hide my face so you might be able to see it. Very nice. Does this have a bit of growing to do? Yes. Is this roughly the same size, I think, as when I had my kind of heterofolium, which is here? Yes. So in about 2-3 years, this will be quite nice and sizable, hopefully. So we shall see, but the roots are looking quite healthy. I can never complain about the plants that I get from Grow Tropicals. They're always really, really good, and they just grow plants really well, basically. But this, if I'm not mistaken, was something that they were using for one of their RHS events. I would like to say Chelsea. I don't think it was. I'm not 100% sure. It might have just been one that they got into stock, but I kind of got the impression, I think the newsletter was, that a lot of these things were stuff that they used for the Chelsea flower show. And oh, when I tell you, when I saw this, I was just like, yes, please. So let me see quite how large it is, because I'm going to put it there, but I'm really hoping it still fits there. Oh wow, look at the packing peanuts, and I would assume these are the biodissolvable ones. Give me a couple of seconds, I might have to edit this bit out because there's a lot of peanuts in here that I need to get rid of. Okay, I'm out of breath. because that was intense. So after a metric beep ton of the packing peanuts, and it is packaged beautifully, and it's right down here, and I will pick it up and show you. This is the Travesia buckii. I'll put the name at the top. Oh, I've mentioned this before in my weird and unusual plant video, but let me pick it up. And again, note the size of the pot. Absolutely stinking ginormous. Look at the size of the box, and this is even the box. This is the pot. That is a box that the pot is sitting in. So that should tell you something about how small your pots need to be. That packaging on this is intense. There's a box and it has those big packing peanuts, but I mean, I don't know if you can see, I mean the size is absolutely ginormous. This, believe it or not, and this is why I was asking about the Peliscias, this is related to both the Peliscias and the Aurelias, the true Aurelias. So the one thing I hadn't realised about this plant, and hopefully that might come up if I had my face a bit, can you see the little spikes? I didn't realise this had spikes growing on its stem. And yes, this should fit quite nicely, God knows how I'm going to put it, where I want it to go, which is great. It will take up the majority of that space up there, but can we just take a minute? I'm trying to like not poke myself on the stem. This, and I'll see if I can find a picture and add it here. This isn't even the mature version of these leaves, if I'm not mistaken. The mature version of these leaves, I don't know if you can kind of see how it kind of is laid out. This tends to look a bit like, you know, those snowflakes that you would cut out at Christmas when you kind of like fold all the papers and you get all these weird and wonderful shapes. And I mean, it's still giving a bit of that right now, but absolutely over the moon. Way too long that this has been on my wish list. And it's not a philodendron, and it's not an Anthurium, and it's not a Monstera. I do have other plants that I'm interested in. They just tend to be few and far between at this point, just purely because I'm a bit more comfortable with the other kind of genera. But I am willing to learn as long as I can keep this plant happy. And as I said, this does not come up for sale very often at all. And I mean, look at the size of the pot for the size of the plant. But yes, I thought I would share with you an awesome plant. The leaves are even got a bit of corrugation, like a bit of serration, not corrugation. So this plant wants to kind of harm you a lot, but stunning, absolutely stunning. I think there's a tiny bit of dust on there, and I'm assuming this might have been from the event as well. But to be fair to the guys at Grow Tropicals, the packaging on this was intense. There was nothing that was going to go wrong with this plant. Now, let's see if I can keep it happy, and let's see if I can keep it alive. That's a different story. But yeah, this will definitely be taking pride of place back here, and you should start seeing it on some of my new videos. But yeah, that was everything that I wanted to show you for right now. I know that there's a few people that look for this specific plant, but double whammy of wishlist plants that have been on my wish list for years that I have been able to now add to my collection. Hopefully the excitement is coming through, but this is also at the very end of a weekday, so I have been up since 5 with Duke and with the chickens and everything else, and I've been at work all day, but believe me, this is excited for 5 o'clock, 4:45 on a weekday. It's a good thing I work from home. But yes, absolutely stinking amazing, over the moon. One final thing actually on this plant is, I don't know if you can see that the leaves, this is one of those plants that the leaves change morphology, which basically just means it changes the way that it looks as it matures. So you might be able to see just a simple green leaf. It is getting bigger here, bigger still. You're starting to see some of those splits, but at this point it looks like any other philodendron. And then you start going into this kind of cut-out snowflake vibe as well. So very, very cool. And as I said, I don't think this is its final form. For those who are into Pokemons, this is not the final evolution of this plant. So hopefully I can keep it alive. And just, yeah. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. I will let you go and go back to my future self, past self. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed. Okay, so that was everything. That was the June update and also that little unboxing. Did the unboxing surprise you? Very, very cool plants. I know it was just 2, but I'm so glad to have the snowflakey plant in my care. I have realized since getting that plant that there are 2 different versions of that genus, the Traversier. One which is a palmata and the other one which is the buckii or bucky, which is the one that I've got. The palmata tends to be the one that has more of the snowflake vibe, but I quite like the look of both of them, so I'm quite glad I've got this. However, it does mean now that I'm also looking for the palmata. If anybody hears of it in the UK, please do let me know. Thank you. But yeah, that was the update. If these things become more regular, these kind of monthly updates, so I'm really hoping I'm going to stick to it. If you have any burning desire to find out about certain plants, I think this might be a good kind of media for me to kind of update you on certain plants that everybody wants an update on specifically. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. It might be more of a case of I might put something on the community section here, or if I do it on Instagram, but I know not everybody that watches this is on Instagram, but I also know that people don't always go to the community tab here. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So it's kind of like fair and democratic basically, but in order for me to kind of ask the question before I do a video going, I'm doing the this month's update. Do you want an update on a specific plant? And then you can put it in the comments, and if there's enough people that are kind of wanting the same thing, I'll kind of bring it in. I'll do like a majority thing basically. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know if any of this surprised you. Let me know what you thought about the unboxing as well. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon. And I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.